There's breaking news coming out of the University of Oklahoma Athletic Department as longtime athletic director Joe Castiglione has decided to step down and retire from Oklahoma as athletic director. This has been the guy that's been the steadying force with the University of Oklahoma this entire century. So for him to be leaving at this point is bittersweet in that you want to recognize the man for all the contributions he done to Oklahoma, but also some people are questioning why now? Why now, Joe? Let's talk about it. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this. The Joe Castiglione retirement has come as a pretty much of a shock to a lot of people. A lot of people, are very grateful for what Joe Castiglione has done for the University of Oklahoma, while there are some others that question why do it now. And been seeing a lot of comments out there on the internet, and this is just one that I wanted to use as an example of some Oklahoma fans who feel like maybe this wasn't the right time just yet for Joe Castiglione to step down. It goes a little something like this. It says, the end of an era. In a storm of setbacks, Joe Castiglione's retirement closes the book on the most stabilizing force Oklahoma athletics has known. But his exit comes amid a decade that's felt like a controlled demolition of Sooner football. Bob Stoops stepped away. Lincoln Riley bolted west, taking stars and staff with him. The move to the SEC turned into a leap during a rebuild. Key recruits vanished, rivals surged, and bitter losses piled up, especially to Texas. And now the man who held it all together is walking off the field. For a program forged in legacy, the past 10 years have tested faith. Castiglione leaves not a program in ruins, but one in deep transition, still searching for its next solid ground. And I feel like a lot of people are echoing these sentiments, while there are some out there that are probably going to get mad. And so let me go ahead and stop this screen real quick. There's a lot of people out there getting mad at other fans like this for expressing their bittersweet emotions. And you really can't help it, because it is sort of a bad time for Castiglione to step down, in my opinion. Now, it does say in this article that I'm about to pull up that he will be staying on as an interim type AD emeritus, blah, 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 blah. But it's still just the optics of it and the fact that he's stepping down right now when Oklahoma is in deep transition. Yes, I know he stayed for the first year of the SEC transition, but 1 year going to a totally different conference and a totally different culture. Now, when they went and left from the they didn't really leave, but when the Big Eight merged with the Old Southwest, that really wasn't them leaving a conference. They stayed in the Big Eight. It just became the Big 12. This is an entirely different transition and completely different from that. Pull up this article for you guys right now and read a little bit of this to y'all and get y'all's take on it as well. This comes from On 3. Report, Oklahoma AD Joe Castiglione planning to retire from Pete Thamel. Says Castiglione is 67, which is probably a good retirement age, I must admit. Initiated the conversation about his retirement with school officials nearly a month ago, per sources, and they landed on this plan together, Thamel wrote on X. It allows OU to replace. It searched for his replacement this year and aid in a smooth transition. The timing of the move will allow Oklahoma to hire in the upcoming months and transition with Castiglione on campus. Despite Castiglione's decision to step down from his full-time role as athletic director, he'll still be involved with the school's decision-making. When Oklahoma hires a new AD, Castiglione will serve as the school's athletic director emeritus. So he's still going to be on staff, sort of like Nick Saban is with Alabama. He's still got a little $500,000 job where he gets to, stay involved, so to speak. Since Castiglione took over at Oklahoma, the school has won a total of 25 national championships in athletics, including football, 2000, softball, 2000, 2013, 2016, 17, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Moreover, Castiglione guided Oklahoma during its transition from the Big 12 to the SEC. Castiglione has hired 3 football coaches during his tenure at Oklahoma: Bob Stoops, Lincoln Riley, and Brent Venables. Additionally, he's hired 3 men's basketball head coaches as well: Jeff Capel, Lon Kruger, and Porter Moser. In 2004, Castiglione won the Bobby Dodd Award for Athletic Director of the Year. He was also named National Athletic Director of the Year in 2009 by the Sports Business Journal. In 2018, it was announced Castiglione would be inducted to the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. Going on down here, unlike many schools, Oklahoma will split its $20.5 million in revenue sharing between 6 sports: football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, softball, and women's gymnastics. The current $20.5 million cap is reportedly expected to increase at least by 4% yearly for the next 10 years. So that's what Joe has overseen and had a part in helping with Oklahoma athletics, which is a big mouthful of things that Joe has accomplished in his tenure at Oklahoma. But my question is, why now? Like I said earlier, to me, it's not really a great time for Oklahoma, especially in football. This really is not a good thing, in my opinion, for Brent Venables, unless Brent Venables comes out and has an exceptionally good year. I would think he'd at least have to win 10 games with a new athletic director coming in. If it was Joe Castiglione that was staying another year, which is what I think Joe should have done, I think maybe he should have stayed one more season to get Oklahoma fully, transitioned into the SEC. But, a lot of people come in and say, well, look at Texas. They've transitioned fine. Yeah, but Texas didn't have to deal with the crap that Oklahoma had to deal with when they was coming in. Texas had already made sort of a couple of years of transition with their new head coach, Steve Sarkisian. Oklahoma had a brand new head coach coming in with new recruiting rules, the NIL, the transfer portal, all that stuff was brand spanking new for every coach. Not just a first-year head coach like Brent Venables, but for every head coach out there, even the ones with bukus of experience like Nick Saban, who basically, in my opinion, probably retired because of all this crap. And not only that, but you had the coach that was here, Lincoln Riley, Stinky Linky, who I like to grill the hell out of, basically was pining and working for USC while still being employed by Oklahoma with one of his assistants. His name escapes my memory here, but everybody always knows his name. I don't. Y'all drop it in the comments section. But they were basically recruiting for USC while they were still employed at Oklahoma. And then they took a bunch of Oklahoma stars. Mary Caleb Williams Fingernails is the biggest one, who ended up winning the Heisman Trophy at USC. And then, of course, Lincoln made his shady ass comments that he made numerous times, talking about we didn't take players from Oklahoma, we took them from the transfer portal, which we all know is complete horse manure, because what he done was he basically lured Caleb Williams over into the transfer portal. So all that stuff that he had to go through coming in is a lot to ask. And now this comes about in his going on his 4th season, and he's had 2, 6, and 7 years below 500. So you have some people that are restless in the Oklahoma nation, and now you're bringing in a new athletic director during Brent Venables' tenure now, another added stressor and another added thing to Brent Venables that a lot of coaches may not have to deal with. So I don't know if this is really fair to Brent Venables, but Joe Castiglione has to do what's best for Joe C at the end. But a new athletic director coming in, if Brent Venables only wins 7 or 8 games this year, I could definitely see Brent Venables being in trouble, especially with Joe Castiglione no longer as the athletic director. The old saying goes that when you bring in a new athletic director, he wants to bring in his own guys, especially at the biggest money-making avenues in your athletic department, which are usually college football and men's college basketball. Well, I hadn't forgot. Here comes those random 4 horsemen shout-outs of the day. They go to Brad Friend, Bay Sooner, Bart Weisenhunt, and Denizen were mounted up and saddled up, and they were ready to go and help us with today's college football invasion. Now, before I get out of here, I'd like for you guys and gals to drop it in the comment section. Let me preface this once again by saying I'm not saying bad things about Joe C. I'm not saying that what he done was the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying that it's sort of bittersweet. So y'all drop it in the comments section and let me know what you think about the whole situation. Do you think Joe C could have waited another year, or do you think that Joe C just deserves to be respected as the man he is and the man that helped Oklahoma through a lot of trying times? Drop it in the comments section. And that's all I got to say about that. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big four, all absolutely free. And if you want to do a little something extra, you can join the Outlaw Posse. It's not $2.99 a month. That's just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. You'll get your badge. You'll get deputized. You get those random four horsemen shout out like those guys just did. And you may possibly be the comment of the day. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.